Shifting focus now to another conflict in West Asia. The U.S. is carrying out its largest military operation in Yemen since President Donald Trump took office in January. And on Tuesday, American forces launched a wave of airstrikes against Yemen's Houthi rebels. What was the goal? To stop their repeated attacks on ships passing through the Red Sea. According to the Houthis, 16 people were injured in the strikes. The attacks hit areas around Hodeida's Al-Hawak district, close to the city's airport, which the Houthis have used before to target shipping. Footage from the Yemeni channel Al Masirah showed people rushing the injured into ambulances and rescuers using phone flashlights to search through the debris. Other reported targets included Yemen's Amran Governorate, north of Sana'a, where the U.S. allegedly hit telecom equipment. Jebel Nukum near Sana'a was also targeted, along with Dhamar and Ib regions, where 3 people were injured. The U.S. Central Command, which oversees operations in the region, did not confirm these strikes. The command, in fact, has been authorized from the White House to conduct strikes at will. In the campaign that started March 15, the White House says over 200 airstrikes have been carried out so far. These U.S. attacks have focused on Houthi oil refineries, airports, missile sites. President Trump has vowed to keep using overwhelming force, quote-unquote, until the Houthis stop targeting international ships. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth, for that matter, speaking in the Oval Office on Monday during a visit by the Israeli Prime Minister, Benjamin Netanyahu, also warned that America was not going to relent in its campaign against the Houthis.
Thank you all for being here. Thank you very much.
Now, remember, the Houthis started their Red Sea attacks as a mark of solidarity with the Palestinians suffering in the Israel-Hamas war. Since the war started in October 2023, the Houthis have launched over 100 attacks and sank 2 ships. The result? Around 70% of global shipping that once passed through the Red Sea is now being rerouted around southern Africa, which is a much longer and costlier path. Washington claims that its campaign is working. National Security Advisor Mike Waltz says that several Houthi leaders have been killed, but has it really been effective is the question. Because every time the U.S. strikes, the Houthis do respond. Today on Wednesday, the Houthis claim to have shot down an American MQ-9 drone over Yemen's Al-Jawf province. What was their weapon? A locally made missile. They say that this is the 3rd U.S. drone they have taken down in 10 days. And the 18th since they launched their pro-Gaza campaign, 18th. According to the Houthi-run health ministry, the U.S. strikes have killed at least 78 civilians and injured 196 people in Yemen since March 15. In just 3 weeks, the U.S. has reportedly spent over $200 million on missiles and bombs in Yemen. The Defense Secretary, Pete Hegseth, has named the campaign Operation Rough Rider in an apparent reference to the 19th century U.S. cavalry charge. While reports suggest up to 80 Houthi officers may have been killed, the group's top leadership and many of its missile sites reportedly remain intact. And what's more, they have continued firing ballistic missiles at Israel, at least 12 since mid-March. They have also sent drones and missiles at U.S. Navy ships. Of course, none have caused any major damage, but the threat does remain. And according to CNN, America's campaign's total cost is nearing $1 billion. And despite the scale of the operation, the Houthis have not stopped. Now, they've even threatened to target the UAE, which supports the rival Yemeni government. Experts say the Houthis are hard to defeat. After all, the pro-Iran rebel group has withstood tens of thousands of airstrikes over the past decade. They have strong local support and a robust smuggling network that brings in missile parts and other supplies. From the beginning, in fact, Trump and US officials have tied the Houthis to Iran. Washington has warned that Tehran will be held responsible for all Houthi attacks. But so far, Iran has not faced direct consequences, and it's unclear whether they even control the group's day-to-day decisions as such. While part of Iran's axis of resistance, the Houthis are known to act independently. But the US seems prepared to escalate. We've told you American B-2 bombers as well as refueling planes have already arrived at Diego Garcia in the Indian Ocean, possibly a warning to Iran or a sign of deeper strikes to come. The coming weeks could test just how far the Houthis are willing to go and how much the US is willing to spend to stop them. And amid the rise in tensions in West Asia, Hezbollah has said it is ready to give up its weapons if Israel withdraws from South Lebanon. According to news agency Reuters, a senior Hezbollah official has said that the group is ready to hold talks with the Lebanese president about its weapons only if Israel withdraws from Lebanon and stops its strikes. Now, this is big. The prospect of talks on Hezbollah's disarmament were unimaginable until very recently. US-backed president of Lebanon, in fact, had vowed when he took office in January to establish a state monopoly on the control of weapons. And he now intends to open talks with Hezbollah over its arsenal soon. The pro-Iran group has reportedly taken a serious hit following months of war with Israel last year. Its top leaders and thousands of its fighters have been killed. Much of its rocket arsenal has been destroyed. The blow was compounded when its ally in Syria, ex-President Bashar al-Assad's regime, was toppled in December, cutting its supply lines from Iran. Now, senior Hezbollah officials saying that they are ready to discuss its arms in the context of a national defense strategy. But this hinged on Israel pulling out its troops from 5 hilltops in South Lebanon. Remember, Israel, which sent ground troops into South Lebanon during the war, has largely withdrawn, but decided in February not to leave the 5 hilltop positions. It said it intended eventually to hand them over to Lebanese troops once it was sure the security situation allowed. And despite ceasefire since November, Israeli airstrikes have kept the pressure on the Lebanese group. Hezbollah has been the most powerful of the paramilitary groups that Iran has backed across the region. Hezbollah has also long rejected calls to disarm, describing its weapons as vital to defending the country from Israel. And according to Reuters, Hezbollah is mulling handing over its most potent weapons, including drones and anti-tank missiles, to the army. The Lebanese president has said that Hezbollah's weaponry must be addressed through dialogue. He believes that attempts to disarm the group by force would only prompt more conflict. As far as Hezbollah is concerned, the onus is on the Lebanese state to get Israel to withdraw.